Okay, I guess we are live. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. Yeah, please.
Okay, fine. So, yeah. Okay. So, hello, good evening. We're so sorry to have kept you waiting. We had some technical issues with at the back end. So thank you very, very much. We appreciate you for waiting, and I think we just get right into it.
Yeah.
All right. So welcome to the Achieve Your Goals webinar, and I can assure you that this experience would be one that you would live to remember for a very long time. We have here Bankole Williams, and together we're going to be sharing very wonderful, information with you that will practically take your life from where you are right now to where you want to be. So just before I forget, just in case there's any technical glitch, probably with your internet, or perhaps NEPA decides to show themselves, please be rest assured that a replay of this webcast will be sent to you 48 hours maximum after this. So for those of you that do not know me, or perhaps it's the first time you're getting to see me, my name is Kemi Ogunkoya, and I'm the founder of the Blythe Hub Academy, a growing educational company that seeks to help creatives and entrepreneurs become the best that they can be, maximizing their potentials for greatness. And with me is the wonderful Bankole Williams. He is amazing. He's a two-time best-selling author. He's the author of the book Cupcakes for Your Soul, which is a book I absolutely love. And the other book is Engaged to a Job You Hate. Right? So Bankole Williams, I'll let you, just speak with them and introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you so much, Kemi, for organizing this. I think this is an amazing platform that she's come up with, and it's so good to have you guys here. I believe that some of the things you're going to share will literally transform your lives, even as you prepare towards 2018. Right, my name is Bankole Williams, and it is a pleasing pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Kemi, for having me. I am a management consultant. I'm a life coach. I'm also a therapist. One of the different hats. Yeah, but primarily I help people discover limiting patterns, help them gain maximum momentum towards their goals. And it's interesting that today we're going to be talking about an interesting subject that I think would help you, such that you would literally be able to smash whatever goals you set for yourself in 2018.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Bankole. There's still so much I'm going to talk about, we're going to get to that. So why are we here today? We're here to learn how to smash your goals, how to set goals, how to break limiting patterns, and most importantly, how to remain consistent on your goals in 2018. Because as we know, so many times we have people set goals, and in fact, some people don't set goals. In fact, there was this interesting statistic that only 3% of the world population actually set goals.
Oh, wow.
And that was really shocking for me. So you have the issue of people not being able to set goals. You have people setting goals which, they probably cannot achieve, or people setting unrealistic goals. And in the end, it seems like they really struggle and are not able to get things done. So we're going to be talking about so many of those today. And, just as a heads up for you, please make sure that you get your notepads ready, because you're going to be writing quite a lot, taking lots of notes. So get your notepads ready, get your pens ready, and be in a place that has very limited distractions. We just want you as much as possible to focus on everything we're going to be talking about today. Now, Bankole, in the course of what we do, I'm sure we interacted with quite a number of people, and who have faced quite a number of challenges.
Yeah.
What would you say is the biggest challenge that people face when it comes to setting their goals?
Okay, so that's a really brilliant question. I feel, a lot of people don't really know how to set goals, and because in the past they've tried it out, and then this time, they're trying to do it again. A number of people are dealing with what I call toxic emotions. Toxic emotions associated with frustration from trying to chase something and it not happening. So I set a goal 2 years ago, I didn't accomplish it. Last year, said they don't accomplish it. You know, with all of that comes toxic emotion, and you know, people experience frustration, and because of the frustration that they experience, you know, they're just like, hey, you know, heck it, I'm not doing this anymore. I think that's one of the problems. Another thing is that people don't, you know, time to the first thing I said, people really don't know how to set goals in a compelling way that will cause them to take action. One of the things I say is that your goals are such that inspire you. You know, you should literally be, what's the word? Be lured by your goals. If your goals don't lure you, then there's a problem. If you're consistently always trying to run after or chase, you know, that goal, then there's a problem. It should be such that it's like when the guy really likes virtual lady and he does all the things he can, you know, just to get her attention and woo her. That's how people should set goals. And a lot of people don't know that. So that's a fundamental, you know, problem that they have. And I think a lot of people have what I call wishes. So, you know, I want to make more money. You know, I want to lose weight. You know, I want, you know, things like that. That I call them wishes because they're not specific. They don't elicit any strong motivation on the inside of you. And at the end of the day, they end up not accomplishing those things because it's just a mere wish, you know. And there's the frustration that comes with the fact that, hey, I wanted this thing, but it didn't happen. But what you wanted was not clear enough. It wasn't concise enough for the mind to be able to relate with it and articulate it. For it to motivate you to take action.
Very true. And you know, I for one can relate to that because I'll say probably the last 30 years for me has been like a roller coaster of events. It's gone from me being unclear about my goals, being in a place where I lacked clarity, you know, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, I wasn't sure what I was even passionate about, you know, and it was a point of frustration for me because in as much as I tried to set some goals, vague goals, just as you said, it was mere wishes, I can say. You know, I wrote some goals, but they were not compelling enough. I didn't find the energy, you know. So it for sometimes it started like, oh, at the beginning of the year, it sets like a New Year resolution. And you find out that 2 weeks into it, 3 weeks into it, I totally lose the zeal to keep moving on. Yeah. So I totally relate to what you just said. And, you know, it's a challenge that so many people deal with every day.
Yes.
So I know that. And what I also know is that, you know, being in that situation is a choice.
True.
It's something so many people don't want to hear, but it's a choice. You can either make a choice to start moving out of it, you know, and by that I mean moving from where you are right now to where you want to be, or you can make a choice to remain there. Whichever way, your action or inaction is actually a choice.
Yes.
And for me, when things started moving or started working out for me, was when I was totally able to get out of that place.
Yes.
And getting out for me was, you know, intentional,
yes.
but it wasn't achieved on my own.
Yeah.
I was able to do that through coaching,
yeah.
through support systems, through structures.
Yeah.
And that was, you know, it was at that point that I met you.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing, really, because when I look back and look at what I was able to do before I got such support and system and, you know, mentorship and guidance, it was like I was working so hard,
yeah.
which is where so many people are. You're working so hard, but you can't see it,
yeah.
right? So getting the structure, getting the support, and I think we should also. I should also let you know that to get from where you are to where you want to be, you have to leverage on massive support. You have to leverage on systems that will help you grow.
Very true. Yeah. Very, very true.
So would you like to share your own experience from, you know, where you used to be to where you are?
Yeah, and that's I like that question because, you know, it's so easy to see some people and just assume that everything had always been going on.
True. I want to be like that.
You know, but people don't realize that we're coming from somewhere. And one of the things I say is there was a time in my life I was being confused. I was not clear as to what it is that I want and what it is I wanted. And coaching did something incredible for me. I have my own coach, and I have people who mentor me. People who I have sessions with from time to time, just to, you know, clear my head and to have a clear picture of what my future should really look like. So every year I try to have sessions with them so that I can map out what my year is supposed to look like. So like I mentioned, I was confused. I was chasing diverse things. I remember when I wanted to start going on this path to be a coach and to be a speaker. I used to work in a bank, and I'm sure that the people who are listening, who are out there, in a dead-end job, doing something just because they want to earn a salary and make money. But I knew that there was more to my life than that. I knew that I wanted to speak and impact people. I didn't know how, to go about it. So I was really confused as to how, what direction my life should go into, and that's how I heard, about life coaching, and I attended a life coaching certification course that changed my life. It made me realize that one missing item was accountability. Was the fact that it was necessary for me to be able to communicate my goals to somebody who would hold me accountable on the things that I wanted to achieve. And not only did I get a coach, I learned about the principle of coaching. And it's a principle that's so powerful that I've been able to use over the years to help people to move from where they are to where they want to be. Somebody asked me a very interesting question. What percentage of people do I believe achieve 90% of their goals every year? Based on my interaction with people, and from my observation, the truth of the matter is, almost less than 7% of people consistently achieve their goals, every year. But guess what? By the time they are accountable to people who are experienced coaches, right, it increases to as high as 70% of their goals. Right, and that's something that really was like a tipping point for me. Something that really changed. So hey, I moved from being confused, not knowing what I wanted, to not just being accountable. Now people are accountable to me.
Fantastic. And it's a journey that really I like the way you said it, so that people get to understand that we're all on a journey, right?
Yes.
So many people look at you and they feel, yeah, you have it all sorted out. How come you has a coach? Yes, I'm also a coach, but I have a coach. He's my coach, and I have so many other mentors that I'm also accountable to. And here's the thing, really, that was surprising to me, that before I got on that journey, it was so much of a struggle for me. Not because I wasn't aware of some of the information. Really, I had the information, but I was not applying them. So, which is one thing I would like you all to take out of this today, that no matter what information you have, no matter the quality of information you have, if you're able to take consistent, imperfect actions, I call them imperfect actions because whichever way, we're not perfect, right? And along the line, we're going to make mistakes. So until you're able to start taking consistent, imperfect actions every day, you're going to be, the gap you're trying to fill between where you are and where you want to be is just going to keep getting wider, right? Yes. So, so many people talk about goals. Sometimes it sounds like a really fancy word, but really, what are goals and why should people set goals?
Goals are desired outcomes or a desired future that an individual envisions, plans, and commits towards achieving. That's really what a goal is. So there is a picture that you see in your mind that you envision. Now you envision that, so it's something desirable. You envision it, but you don't just envision it alone, which is where a lot of people stop. People they envision something, and that's why it's a wish. But there is no commitment, there's no plan, and there is no commitment to the achievement of that thing. So that's when it becomes a goal, right? When there is a strategy to accomplishing that particular thing. Yes, so that's really what a goal. And goals there's certain factors that make a goal, right? One, a goal must be within your control, right? And I notice that sometimes people set goals that are outside their control. So, next year, so and so person is going to give me, 30 billion or something.
There's a lot of entitlement.
Exactly. And you feel like somebody else should be responsible for something that should happen in your life. That becomes manipulation. when you are pegging the outcome of your life to somebody doing something, it should first be within your control. Sometimes some people are setting goals, for their spouses, and it's on behalf of Susan, by next year this person would have become, so you have to focus on the things that are within your control, right? Because you're focusing on you. Right, but there are also things that are called SMART goals, meaning that they should be specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. I like to call achievable articulated, so such that you're able to communicate it in such a way that anybody who hears it gets what it is that you're saying. So SMART goals, S, it has to be specific. You have to know exactly what you want. People say things like, I want to lose weight. It's not specific. It has to be very clear in the exact amount of weight you want to be at a particular point in time. It has to be measurable, right? It has to be such that over a period of time you can tell how much progress you've made. So hey, you want to make maybe 12 million naira. In 1 month, you should have made 1 million naira. If your goal is to make 12 million naira in a year, right? It should be articulate. So you should be able to, in as few words as possible, clearly articulate thoughts to people. It should be realistic, meaning, hey, it has to be something that is real and tangible, something that you can accomplish within that time frame that you set for yourself. Somebody has never made 1 million and sets a goal of making 100 million.
20 billion. He
has never experienced that kind of thing. Is that real? Is that realistic person? And the final one is must be time bound, right? So it's a specific time that thing should have been accomplished.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that, Banko, because truly on the job, it's something we deal with quite a lot. I remember working with a particular lady who wanted to set up a spa. And the first question I asked her was, so what exactly do you want? What kind of spa do you want? And she was like, yeah, well, I just want to do something. Okay, so when? What kind of spa do you want? Where do you want it? She didn't have any of those questions. And it was really surprising to me. And I asked her, so how exactly do you know where you want to focus your energy? Because she had no idea of what it would cost her. She had no idea of where she wanted it to be located. She had no idea of the segments she wanted within the spa. So it was really vague, and until she was able to put it together, she really didn't get any clarity. So when we worked together, she was able to learn how to then break those codes and break everything down into reasonable tasks where she was able to then measure what expected outcome was supposed to be. But I also realized that on this journey of goal mastery and people getting to achieve their goals, because it cuts across different spectrum, right? People want to achieve goals in their relationships, their finances, their career, their personal lives, and even their spiritual lives too, right? But for some, it seems like there's an obstacle always in the way, right? I mean, and by this obstacle, although for some they claim it's physical, but most people think it's like a spiritual thing, like someone is holding them back from achieving their goals. So what are some of those barriers or obstacles towards achieving goals?
Yeah, I think the fundamental obstacle that gets in the way of a lot of people is their mindsets.
True.
Right? Nobody can do beyond their level of thinking. You can't, I like this way, you can't feature in a future you have not pictured. You can't.
I love that. You can't feature in a future that you've not pictured.
You definitely can't. And a lot of people have images in their minds that they are not aware of, that are getting in the way, right? And the problem is that you have a vision that you are unaware of, and you're trying to create a totally different vision. So there are people who are stuck because of different mindsets that have formed over the years, and unless those mindsets are broken, it's almost like they're running a vicious cycle. And I've seen this thing happen to people time and time again, and that's where the frustration comes. Where I say this year I'm going to accomplish this. It's December 31. You say your prayers. This year is going to be a year of double, a year of triple, and all that. And somewhere in the middle of the year, you find out that you're back where you started off from. Now we're approaching the end of the year, and most people who are listening are thinking about the goals that they set at the beginning of the year. chances are that they are back where they started off from. And that's, that leads to frustration, right? Here I am again, I've tried. And what they fail to realize is that their mental strongholds, that's what I like to call them, things that block them in their minds, that keep getting in the way of their goals. And until they identify some of these things, they will keep continuously, they will produce the same results year in, year out. And I think it's important that everybody investigates and sees what are those thought patterns that are responsible for the outcomes that it consistently produces.
Fantastic. And truly, I can attest to that. So if you're watching, what we'd like you to do is, take notes. I said at the beginning of this session that we'd like you to have your journal and your pen with you. So I'd like you to write down an area of your life where you're struggling. It could be your finances, it could be your career, it could be your business, it could be your relationship, whatever area that you're struggling with, write it down and take notes. Now, Anthony Williams just said about the mental stronghold. So you want to also note what are some of those patterns which you have lived with for so long. Because I personally lived with some patterns, and I remember when I had some of my therapy session with you, you were able to identify some of those patterns which I never knew existed with me. I didn't even know how it could have an effect on my present life. So it's very important, and this is a part that so many people take for granted.
Very true.
Because they really don't know, and yet interacted with quite a number of people, and they say, oh no, it's just, it's just, when you just it, like Bankole said, that it's the greatest thing that holds you back, really, it's your mind. I read up somewhere that the greatest strategy is not he who does not have a goal. Really, it's he who has no goal to aim for. Right? So there has to be something you're looking up to. There has to be something that you're living for. And we also said something around the energy that has to go into setting goals, making sure that you're consistent. But first, you want to be sure that you take note of those limiting patterns. And if you'd like to share with us, Bankole, what are some of those limiting patterns that people experience?
They're quite enough. A number of these patterns are predicated on experiences of our past.
Sure.
Right. I think I'll just start by saying that the mind has a thing with going to the past. It just has a thing. The default posture of human behavior is to revert to old behavior. So one of the frustrations people experience is, they say to themselves, I want something new. I want this new result. I want this new outcome. But guess what? The default human behavior is to go back to the past. So you can desire the new, but you keep repeating the old, which is what happens to people. So there are different things that are responsible for patterns, and one critical one is things like your upbringing, how you were brought up as a child. Now, some of those experiences that you had as a child have formed you. They caused you to have what I call limiting beliefs. Now, these limiting beliefs are unconscious thought patterns that exist here. Right now, when I say unconscious, it means that it's there, but you're probably not even aware. Now, it's the interaction with experienced, coaches like Kemi, who would help ask critical questions that will help you uncover, some of these things that happen in your past that have made you form a belief. So upbringing is very critical, and the kind of upbringing that you had will determine your perception about different kinds of goals you want to set for yourself. So you want to set a goal in your financial life, for instance, right? The experiences you've had as a child, in your upbringing about money, will determine your perception about money, right? And until that is dealt with, you can desire to make more money, but there is a belief on the inside of you that tells you that making plenty of money is not for people like you. There's that kind of belief, right? So you actually want more money, but unconsciously there's a force in your mind that suggests to you that, hey, you're not worthy enough for this kind of thing that you're asking for. So it's almost like your mouth is saying something, but your heart is resisting you. Right, so those are the things we need to critically look at. And for somebody like that, it will amaze you that the person grew up in an environment where there was abject poverty. And because of that environment, there are beliefs he has formed about what he deserves and what he does not deserve. So because you don't believe you deserve, that quality of living and that quality of life, even though you desire it, because you do not believe you deserve it, life will credit you what you believe you deserve, not what you desire.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is an aspect that so many people have to really take seriously. So for me, like I said, that I also fell into that pattern, and it's been amazing what I've been able to help other people get out of, such patterns, to discover those kind of patterns that they never even knew existed in them. So it's amazing the power that suddenly comes, and you're like, oh my goodness, the world sees you, and it's like, oh, this girl is on fire, this guy is on fire, not knowing the process that you have gone through. So there are, some steps that I also want us to share with some of our viewers to, in terms of get into, because I know one of the other reasons to why people are not able to set goals or even achieve their goals is because there's no clear focus, right? And if you're looking at focus, what are some of the things you're looking at? I'm thinking that we're looking at things like people not being able to set goals, we said that already, people not being able to take responsibility, I'm sure you mentioned something like that when we spoke about entitlement, but I think the act of taking responsibility of everything around you, I mean, taking 100% ownership of your past experiences, of your future, of your present, takes you to a whole different level. I know there's something that responsibility does to you. It doesn't expect you to keep calling on the next person, or to keep wishing other people get it done for you. Can you take control, and that way it puts you in total control of your life. Right. So one of the other things that you think, can also help people get to be more focused.
Interesting that you talk about that. I believe we have what I call personal power. And a lot of people don't take ownership of their personal power. They don't own that space of the personal power. Everyone has the potential to change their outcomes, to change their lives significantly. But if you live in a disempowered way, you will be disempowered in life. If you carry yourself like a victim, you will attract predators. If you carry yourself like a prey, you will attract predators. Right? So it's important that you recognize that the power, the capacity to change your outcomes lies totally in your control. The problem is that we think it is something outside of us. If we think that somebody that is responsible for the results that they're producing, you think that maybe somebody's doing you out there. But the minute you enter the driver's seat of your life and you recognize that it is totally within my control to determine the results that I experience in my life, just that frame of mind, changes everything. And when you want to set goals, which is one of the reasons why I said focus on the things that are within your control. You want to be in that position of personal power. Another thing that I think is important that will help people, remain focused on their goals is that every distraction comes through your 5 physical senses. Right? Every form of distraction. You will be distracted by something you hear, you'll be distracted by something that you see, be distracted by something you smell, something you touch, right? So what am I trying to say? If you want to remain focused, then you need to learn how to use these things, these 5 physical things that relate to your 5 physical senses to put you on track, right? That's what advertisers, people want to sell products to us. That's what they do. Exactly. It's always in your face. And in fact, maybe you go to one side and you just look at something. Because let me even see this thing. You just notice that thing starts following you everywhere.
Absolutely.
And one day you say, it's not bad, child, let me buy it. Now take note, when you went to just check out that thing, your initial decision was not to purchase it. It was not your decision. But because they kept putting it in your face, right, it influenced your decision. Now that's the principle you want people to use in your life. You want people to influence your action towards your goals. You have to learn how to ensure that it is in your face. You have to learn that it is communicated in a language that your mind understands. So one way to focus is to ensure that you have pictorial representations of what it is you want to see happen in your life. Yeah, it speaks to you consistently. You want to have auditory representations of what it is you want. So how do you consistently hear words that connect with what it is you want to see happen in your life, right? Then touch, or how you feel. How do you consistently ensure that you would feel like you would feel as though you have gotten it even before you have gotten it? Because if you carry that motivation, you will ensure that you take necessary action. So you focus your 5 physical senses on the things that hold the promise what it is you want to see happen.
Amazing. I think another thing I should add to that is that, just as we said that people set very big, ambitious goals, we like the idea of big ambitious goals. But in terms of implementing, to achieve some of those goals, you have to break goals down into smaller things. So many people say, like, okay, I want to have this business. I want to set up this big store. Not breaking it down and just looking at it as a big pie or a big piece of cake just makes it really scary. I remember working with a particular lady on the business she was going to start, and I asked her this question. I said, so imagine I presented you a big cake, like a 3-layer cake. How are you going to eat it? And she looked at me for a minute and she's like, I'll slice it up. So I'm like, if you're going to slice it up, why would you, think of opening the cake or just eating the cake at once? So if you're not going to eat the cake at once, then slice it up and let, just.
That's a beautiful analogy.
Yeah. So so what else would you say
about that? Oh, beautiful. I believe it is important to cut down your goals into sizable chunks, things that you can take in small pieces. The way the mind works is that the mind does not process large doses of information. It processes it in small chunks. So like you rightly said, when the goal is so big, you're almost intimidated by it. So you want to break it down into small bits, that you can take in small portions, and your mind can relate to it. So it's important that you break your goals into what I call milestones. Milestones are like bus stops in the direction of the destination. So you want to earn 12 million naira at the end of the month, at the end of the year. So that means that effectively you should do 1 million naira every month. You want to break it down into what you need to do every week. Right, so that's about I think 250,000 every week. Now that is something that your mind can probably assimilate or relate to. Every time you think 12 million, you'll probably be intimidated by it. So you need to break it down into small, sizable chunks.
Absolutely, and that worked so much for me because I remember when I was starting. So I started my business. The first time I started my business was in 2012. When I started, I would say I didn't have that laser clear idea of setting my goals, setting my business goals. So I set them very big. I knew what I wanted to make in a year, but I was unable to create what I wanted to make in a month or 2 months. So it made it really overwhelming for me. And just the thought of looking at my goals, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this, right? But when I broke down those goals, when I assessed coaching, I was able to do even much more than I thought I could because the goals were not so scary anymore. The figures were not so scary as they initially were. So I think that's really amazing as it has to do with that. And one other thing that so many people encounter in the course of achieving their goals is something we call the big one, fear. And like fear for so many is just like a monster. I know there are quite a number of fears. You have fear of success, you have fear of failure, you have fear of the unknown, fear of losing out, quite a number of fears. And I'd like you to just talk a little bit about some of these fears.
Interesting.
And how to overcome them.
Well, interesting. So a number of these fears, like I earlier mentioned, that they're premised on, experiences of the past. I think the fear sometimes comes from the frustration of trying, and it's not happening again, and wondering, what does the future hold for me? So, like you rightly said, there's the fear of the unknown. There's the fear of not, sometimes some people are like, am I adequate enough? Will I be able to accomplish this thing that I always wanted? Will my peers get ahead of me? There are different kinds of fears that people have. And it's important to investigate and find out the root cause of the fear. Right? A number of times, these fears have their roots in, like I said earlier on, certain experiences of the past. So it's important to find out, where is this fear coming from? What is the root of this fear? Right? I am one of those people. I believe that it's not just about dealing with the behavior that we see. It's about finding the roots. Like, some of these things come from some experiences we've had in our past, where I like to put it this way: when you have an experience that triggers maybe a strong negative emotion on the inside of you, that experience may trigger fear. Right? You tried to do a business before, and you lost money, but you still have to do business, but you're afraid because of the experience that you had that time. That emotion, that strong negative emotion, is still holding you bound. You're still a captive of that experience. So you're struggling. You're trying to do business, but there's a problem. You're struggling because of that experience of the past. I'll give you an example. There's somebody who I know who wanted a better life for himself. Right? And what I found out by investigating and critically asking questions was that, he never wanted to work 9 to 5 for anyone, but he always wanted to make more money. And every time you would tell him to do a 9 to 5, there would be that fear, of taking a 9 to 5. That 9 to 5s are not for people like me. I want to do a business, but he needed to interpret another man's vision before he took on his own. And so there was that struggle always. We start a business and it will go south and go well. And I felt he needed to understudy, he needed to work with somebody. And this default response, no, I can never work for anybody. By the time I dug deeper and I checked, I found out that the reason behind that belief was because his father was someone who used to work a 9 to 5. And something happened somewhere along the way. His father died, right, whilst working for that organization. And the next day after his father died, his father had worked several years for this institution, made a lot of money for them. The following day after his father died, he remembers that the MD of the company sent staff in the company to their house to collect the official car. And they literally stripped them of everything that his father was entitled to. And that thing dealt a strong blow to him. He saw them lose everything because his father worked and slaved for an organization. And at the end of the day, he lost everything. So a belief was formed from there that 9 to 5s are not for people like me. Because if you work for anyone, you're a slave. And someday they will come to collect everything that you have earned. Now that belief was governing his life, and it made him afraid of doing what was necessary to take him in the right direction. And that's what we're talking about. Some fears that come as a result of experiences that we've had. And that's why it's important to get, like I said, the services of a coach, experienced people like, Kemi, who can help you navigate, who can help you navigate to the root cause of that issue. So fear is very generic or broad, but what are you afraid of and why are you afraid? If you can find out the root cause of that belief and then help you change the belief system, then your outcomes will definitely be different.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful, really, because from the experience you just narrated, you find out that even though the experience, it happened to his dad, it still had a very strong effect on him.
Oh yes, it did.
Because he watched it. So for some of us, or for some of you watching too, some of the things holding you back necessarily were not things that happened to you, but have been things that you saw happen within your environment. Things that happened to your mom, things that happened to your brother. I remember working with a particular lady too, who her father took a loan, and did some collaboration with some business partners. And each time he was swindled till he went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
And for that reason, going into business or partnership with anyone was a no-no for her. So as we went through the course of the program, I kept noticing that she had a strong resistance towards partnership, towards collaboration. And of course, in the world that we work in today, or we live in today, it's almost impossible for you to leverage your resources, and the abundance of the whole world without learning how to seek partnerships, how to work with other people, and it was something that held her back until we went through the process and she realized, oh, this is where it was coming from. So I think it's really amazing that our audience gets to understand the effect of self-limiting beliefs and the effect of fear. Yes. So really, how do you get over this fear?
Very beautiful question. So there are a number of things you have to look at here. Which is why first thing is probably to talk to a specialist. And then once you uncover what the root cause is, for some people, they may require therapy, right? Some people, because that event has a strong impression it has made on you, and until you deal with the effect of the emotion associated with that event, you can remain stuck in that particular pattern. So it's important that you recognize if it is so disempowering. If it is, you may need the assistance of a professional to help you uncover that pattern so that you can be free. Right? For some other people, you have to learn how to now create that picture of your future in a way that communicates the brain, which I call your subconscious mind, or the part of your mind, which is the subconscious mind. Because fear is lodged in your unconscious mind. Right? Any emotion, I'll take that again, is lodged in your unconscious mind. The problem a number of times is that our goals are set in such a way that it appeals to our conscious mind. Right? So most people's goals, I want to make this amount of money in so and so period of time, blah, blah, blah. You are speaking the language that only appeals to your conscious mind. And your conscious mind is actually 10% of you. So it's a very small fraction of you. So you have to learn how to be able to speak in such a way that your unconscious mind, the majority, the larger part of you will get it. Because once it gets it, right, it can now reset the program that has been created by your past experiences. Which is why, like I mentioned before, I was talking about your 5 senses. You have to be able to speak your goals to your 5 physical senses, so that by doing so, it can go into your subconscious mind or your long-term memory and begin to change and break some of these patterns and beliefs that exist. But the first thing would be to identify what the fears are, identify what the emotions are, identify what the beliefs are, and then communicate the exact opposite of those beliefs. So, I feel like that I'm not good enough. That's maybe an example of belief that's there. So you want to reframe that belief to the exact opposite, which is, hey, I am the best thing that's happened to this world. In fact, everything is working together to ensure that my dreams and aspirations are coming to pass. Now, that's a way of reframing that belief system. But now that you have that statement, you have to ensure that it's communicated in such a way that your unconscious mind will get it by using 5 physical senses, using pictorial representations, using auditory representation, using things that will make you feel the words that you're actually saying. Right? Once that is done consistently over a period of time, right, that pattern can change. But one quick way to deal with this, particularly strong emotions like fear, is by seeing someone who's a trained professional, a coach or a therapist.
And I can just really relate to all of this because I have to keep going back to that time where I was like, so many of us stop, confused. And even though it's still a journey, right? It's the journey to discovery, the journey to mastery every day. But I remember really that it was by accessing coaching that I was able to move out of that place. But before I accessed coaching, I think I had some resistance to coaching, right? Which is something that so many people that I work with also initially feel. They're like, why do I need someone to tell me what to do? Well, it's my life. I know what it is. I know what I want. So why do I need to talk to anybody? In fact, someone once told me, you guys just read all books and probably tell us stuff. Why do I can just go out, I don't just go and go read all some stuff by myself. And surprisingly for this particular lady, I remember that she went and about 3 months later she was calling me like, babe, I feel stuck. And I'm like, so that's the thing, because the patterns that you're used to that you ordinarily would not see until you access help.
Yeah.
But why is it that there's always that degree of pride or resistance to coaching? Is it a thing of this part of the world, or what exactly is it?
I think it's the lack of understanding. If you don't understand something, chances are that you may resist that thing. So maybe it's the word coach. People associate it to what they have always known a coach to be, but if you fully understand what a coach is, then you would appreciate the role of coach. So sometimes people tell me, so you're just going to talk to me. So you're just going to advise me, you're going to be a counselor. That's not what coaching is. So when you don't fully understand something, you don't get the real value of it. So they just think it's a new concept that has just shown up. But I think everyone should seek understanding before they make conclusions. So people have made conclusions without fully understanding what coaching is. A coach is somebody like some of the things we've already been sharing. Somebody who helps you discover certain things that ordinarily you wouldn't discover for yourself. You wouldn't, and that's the truth. You're so caught up in yourself that you can't see yourself. You're so caught up in your web that you don't see certain things about yourself. It's the same way you notice that maybe there's certain behavioral traits you have. It takes someone telling you, do you know you're like this? And you're like, me? You never noticed it. So you're too familiar. When you get too familiar with yourself, you miss out on certain things about yourself. So you need somebody who is on the outside, who can look at you and show you to yourself. So a coach literally is like somebody who would put a mirror in front of you so that you can see the blemishes, you can see the gaps, you can see the areas of improvement. So it's not me telling you that you're a certain way, it's me showing you to you. Now, when you see you, it's almost like you have a light bulb moment. It's almost like, wow, it's an epiphany. I never knew that. It's almost like you're connecting certain dots in that moment. That's what a coach does for you. Right? It shows you yourself that you ordinarily will not see because you don't have that mirror. A coach is skilled in building, the frame that will get you to see. It's like talking about that person came to me. It's like saying, hey, I'm pregnant, so I can give birth to the baby myself. Some people are trained to do that.
That's true.
Right? And because the person has been trained on how to guide people to see themselves, right? It makes perfect sense to be under the mentorship, or should I say the guidance of somebody who's trained that way. So that's my view on it.
Absolutely, that's really fantastic. And even when you look at, at the world generally, you look at the people doing amazing stuff in the world. You find out that they all access coaching.
Oh yes.
Every athlete you see doing amazingly. Not because the coach is the one to go.
Powerful people.
Yeah. Not because the coach is the one to go on the playing field to kick the ball, but the impact of coaching is tremendous. Yes. I, for one, can attest to that. People call me and they're like, where did you come from? Like, you were not like this before. You didn't have all of these. Where do you have this energy that we see? How are you able to do these things? But truly, I know that before I access coaching and before I, sought help to help me, balance the structure and the systems within me to come to a place of understanding of myself, I wasn't able to do all of that before. So truly, it was like, this new me, really fantastic. So that takes us to the next aspect where, I would like us to look at focus. Because one thing is, so many people start and are never able to finish up. So people start at the beginning of the year, they have wonderful New Year resolutions. They start out with some really, really goals, but 2 weeks into it, 1 year, it happens No, not it happens to me. It happened to me a lot. It happened to me. So how are people able to remain focused all through the year?
Yeah, I think one of the reasons a lot of people's goals are not accomplished because of, like you said, broken focus. And that's because, hey, there's that change and motivation, beginning of the year, but that thing drops at the point. That's why gym registrations are the highest in January, and then significantly drop, as you proceed into the year. And focus, so, when you think about focus creates blindness. Focus is like you're zooming in on something. Now, the problem is while you're zooming in, life happens.
Yeah.
And then it takes your attention away from life. So the issue is broken focus. So no longer am I looking at this thing that I want. All of a sudden, I encounter maybe a challenge along the way, and I shift my focus from this thing that I want to that challenge, and that challenge becomes my new focus. So people start dwelling on the fact that they tried and it didn't work. Can you believe, some of the issues and challenges they are facing? And that becomes where all their constructive energy goes to, and it's draining life from them. And they don't realize it, that time is going, it's draining life, there's demotivation, and they're back where they started off from. So the first thing you need to understand when you're going on a journey to doing or accomplishing something is that you're zoomed into that thing, and every other thing is a distraction. I think a number of times the problem is we're trying to achieve several things at one time. So our attention is split across different things. Right? One of the things that I like to say is important, yes, set goals in different areas of your life. Make sure your goals are not so big that they become so intimidating. I mean, per time, you can have a big vision, but make sure you break it down into achievable things. And when you're broken it down, let that be your focus for that period. Now, if your focus breaks, right, you need to ensure that you get yourself back on track. And it still brings me back to some of these things. I'll give you an example. I set a goal for myself this year for a certain amount of money on it. The first 6 months of the year, I didn't make anything close to it, right? And there was broken focus on along the way. I began to ask myself, is the thing that's on my vision board, is it still possible? But I had to realign myself faster, right? By some of those things that I've done, I began to meditate on things I put on my vision board. And I began to see the possibilities of it. I began to see myself celebrating the success of that thing, that I accomplished that feat. And the more I saw I saw what would have happened after it had been accomplished, the more motivation I got. Right. The problem is people don't see beyond that goal. I began to see beyond that particular goal, because remember, focus has to do with what you see. Right. And because I was seeing had gotten broken along the way, I needed to see more, in relation to what I wanted. So I began to see all of that, and it got me motivated. And then ideas began to come. Okay, why not tweak this? Why not make this adjustment here? Why not do this here? The problem is people change their vision, and that's where the vision is. The vision is made of two words: die and vision, two visions. So the minute you change your vision, you would have broken focus, you have division. So you want to stay on course, and to stay on course, you need to channel your attention, your focus, your eyes to that one thing you set out to do.
Fantastic. And I find that really impactful, because so that's like I said, so many people have this information, they know, okay, you're responsible, take 100% responsibility, break your goals down into small bits. But there's a level, between having the information and actually implementing these principles.
Yeah.
Right? Because I would say that some of these things I've always known, right? But it's a whole different level for you to be able to implement them. And it's at the point of implementation that the magic really is happening.
Yeah.
So I think one other thing that is really critical is the power of habits.
Yeah.
Right? People get into habits and habits are so difficult to change. I remember that for me, and this was one of the reasons why I struggled, was overwhelmed and felt stuck and frustrated. I had certain things that I did in certain ways, and I was used to it, right? I loved to watch TV then, and I found out that 2 3 hours of my day would have gone in watching TV. So for some, it would be that you have to make certain lifestyle changes, or changes to your habits to create the change you want.
Yes.
Right? And habits are very difficult to change, but you can start taking notes of those habits that are not putting you or pushing you in the direction of your dreams. And when you start taking notes of these habits and this pattern, you're able to put it in check.
Yeah.
Basically, put it in check. So I was able to put TV in check, and now I can say that it's able to watch more than 30 minutes of TV per day. Wow. And I don't miss it. Really, sometimes it's difficult to remember when the DSTV goes off, maybe for the kids, really. And if I watch TV, it's because I intentionally choose to watch TV. So I think people need to take note of those habits, those habits that creep into or you've done for so long. I know for one that, the particular way I brush my teeth every morning. Sometimes I try to remember not to keep doing it, but unconsciously I just pick up my brush and So for so many, so it's the same thing. And for you to make that change you want in your life, you have to change some certain habits. You have to change the way you do certain things. You have to be more focused. You have to be more clear about what you want.
Yeah, very true.
Fantastic. So I think we've said quite a lot of things today. We have given you gold. We have given you vital information that can absolutely change your life. So moving forward, I'm sure you have one word or two just to add.
Well, I think one thing that I know that significantly helps me was the fact that I became accountable at a particular point in time. Right? When you are accountable, you're sharing what it is you want to do, what you want to see happen in your life, not just with yourself, but you're sharing with somebody who would ensure that that thing is done, who will at least follow up on you, but also follow up on you in such a way that you will be motivated to get it done. So in those moments when you lose motivation, you are not alone, you're not all by yourself. And that was something that was privileged to have. And I can tell you that I wish I had a coach a lot earlier. And I think that can significantly change your life. Stop drowning in silence. Stop, living all by yourself. Stop trying to do it all by yourself, and then you get frustrated. You wet your pillow, it tears, all by yourself. Find a skilled professional who can help you in this journey towards accomplishing your goals. And I guarantee you, 2018 will be totally different.
Absolutely. And we shared quite a lot of things today. The role of coaching and accountability cannot be overemphasized. The role of systems and structures, mentoring. I know you're very big on mentorship, and so am I, because I see the tremendous impact in my life. So for you watching today, I hope you're taking notes, and for that area of your life whereby you feel like you're really struggling, which you have also taken note, I would like that you apply these principles that we have taught you today into these certain areas of your life. And also, just as we promised you that we have a special announcement or information for you at the end of the session. We love you so much, really, and we cannot wait for you to step into the fullness of the glory and the potential which you have within you. And that is why I have created a program to help you step fully into your power in 2018, called the Goal Mastery Program. And this program is going out at an incredibly discounted price, just for those of you who have been able to tune into this webinar today. For a period of 3 weeks, we're going to be going through aspect of learning how to set SMART goals, just as you learned today that setting goals, may seem fancy, but unless you're able to set SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time bound, then it's probably like you're just throwing things here and there. You're not going to be able to achieve some of those goals. So we're going to be teaching you how to set goals. We're going to be teaching you has remained focused. I'm going to be sharing my awesome productivity tool with you that personally helps me remain focused all through the year. I'm going to be teaching you about how to understand your personality and the role your personality plays in the achievement of your goals. So you don't want to miss this. And for just 5,000 Naira, you're going to get access to this. Actually, this program is on 3 stages. You have the goal mastery program, which is just for 5,000 Naira only. It's a 3-step or 3-module online program that will teach you how to set smart goals and the other areas I've spoken about. Also, there's the program of the goal mastery program, but with a group coaching call. So you get that. And the third level is a group mastery program with a personalized coaching call. All these 3 options are available to you. We've gotten amazing information today, and we are so excited that most of you will take actions on that. So if you're interested in going to the next phase, amazingly smashing your goals in 2018, then you do not want to wait any further. Go to the link on this page, just the red button, and click on enroll for the Goal Mastery program. You have an opportunity until the 1st of December for it to remain at this price. So the Goal Mastery program is just 5,000 Naira. After the 1st of December, it goes up to 8,000 Naira only. So take the chance today and register. All the other programs too would significantly go up. So for those of you that have attended this webinar, take this advantage and register between now and the 1st of December to a wonderful 2018. We cannot wait to celebrate your numerous achievements in 2018. So, Bankole, before we wrap up, I think we should just give like a recap or just run through some of the things we have said.
Well, I believe that it's important that to discover the root cause of whatever mindsets that are responsible for whatever beliefs that they have, about what things they want to see happen in their lives. We've said it here that it's not just about you wanting something, it's about the fact that sometimes you may be getting in the way of what it is that you want, and everybody should for themselves uncover whatever patterns and beliefs get in their way. It's like a stronghold. When you break that stronghold, you're free to be all that you want to be. And to discover that in a good number of times you can't do it on your own. You need the assistance of phenomenal people like Kenny. And I think that the program that she's recommended is something that will change your life forever. I highly recommend it, and I think that you should take advantage of it. I would advise that once you listen to this, you should send that email in case of interest, or clicking on the red button, because just never can tell. The session may just be full before you take advantage of it. So make sure you take action, and I believe that your life will critically experience an astronomical change 2018. I think somebody got it carry.
Thank you very much, Bankole. I said I was going to come back to this, but you have been such a huge pillar and rock in my life. At the time I met you, I was stuck, I was frustrated, I was overwhelmed, not because I didn't have potential in me, but I had so much in me that I couldn't even access. So thank you very much. You have created this Kemi that is creating changes, and so thank you very much. Thank you for coming on this program.
Yeah, thank you for
having me. Appreciate you. So do not forget to take action. Take action on everything. You are totally able to create the change that you want in your life, and we believe in you. So believe in you. Have an amazing day. Bye. So you can.
Are we? Oh,
okay. So yeah, you can catch up with us on Instagram. Bankole is I am Bankole on Instagram. You can also catch up with him on Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, you are
Williams Bankole.
And on Twitter,
I am Bankole.
Okay, so Mine is Kemi.Ogunkoya on Instagram and Facebook. You can catch me up on Kemi Ogunkoya. On Twitter, I am at Kemi Ogunkoya, and we look forward to celebrating so many successes. Have an amazing day, and we look forward to a prosperous 2018.
Yes.
Bye.
That's good.